Coming up, a new movie festival hits Iowa City. And later, Biden drops federal marijuana charges.
Can Iowa's defense slow down the nation's leading rusher? I'll tell you more in sports.
After a cloudy week, will we see a sunny weekend? I'll tell you more in weather.
All that and more coming up on this Friday morning edition of DITV News. Don't go anywhere, DITV News starts right now. Good morning and thank you for tuning in live to DITV and KRUI 89.7 FM. I'm Reagan Wilson. Last night kicked off the inaugural Refocus Film Festival in Iowa City. Hosted by the nonprofit theater film scene, this 4-day-long festival will be showcasing 26 films and performances over the weekend. The historic Englert Theater began the festival last night with a showing of the award season favorite, Bones and All. The rest of the festivities will primarily take place at the 2 downtown film scene locations located at the Chauncey and Ped Mall. As part of the film scene's longtime mission to support the independent artistic and foreign film communities, the festival will include films of 15 different language restored renditions of previously made films, along with informative conversations with the filmmakers themselves. For more information on this weekend's festivities and ticketing options, visit refocusfilmfestival.org. President Joe Biden pardoned thousands of people federally convicted for possession of marijuana yesterday. This decision will remove charges from the convicted of simple drug possession since the 1970s. It will not clear those convicted of selling or distributing marijuana. There are currently no people serving time in federal prison for possession of marijuana, but President Biden says the pardon will help people find jobs, buy a house, and apply to college. Marijuana is currently a Schedule I drug. These drugs are described as having no medical use and high risk for abuse. The Biden administration will consider moving marijuana into a different legal category. President Biden is pushing states to follow and clear people convicted of simple drug possession on state charges. Senate and House elections start October 19th. The University of Iowa hosted a public forum to help those on campus get the information they need before voting rolls around. DITV politics reporter Mara DeSico has more.
Candidates for the Iowa House and Senate attended a public forum to answer questions that Iowa faculty, staff, and students may have. Candidates running for the 91st, 85th, 45th, 46th, 92nd, and 89th district participated. Questions ranged from economic to social, most notably the way that a college campus's culture affects politics.
So I have not had the opportunity to see what that mandatory free speech training is. I'm sure it's good.
The way the funding affects education also came up. The consensus came down to the idea that coursework had to be monetizable.
I think we have to allow new programs in, but then we have to see what programs aren't working. And then we can't keep throwing money after programs that don't seem to be yielding for the university.
Hot-button topics were not spared at the forum. For example, the ban of abortion and the effects that it would have on medicine and unrepresented communities were discussed.
Under no circumstances would I be in support of banning a textbook or a class or knowledge on medical procedures because I think that sets a really dangerous precedent.
Early voting for the November 6th election begins October 19th. These candidates will appear on the ballot. From the Iowa Memorial Union, Mara DeSico, DITV.
UI researchers have recently discovered 60 new genes that are linked to the autism. The University of Iowa contributed to a recent study that gathered DNA from 43,000 different participating individuals with autism. The study was led by the University of Columbia, with 30 other universities involved. Of the genes found in the study, 5 have previously never been associated with neurodevelopment. The 2022 Iowa Climate Statement was recently released by University of Iowa researchers. News reporter Grace Katzer is here with us to talk about the impacts climate change has had in Iowa. Grace, what are the recent updates from the experts?
Well, Reagan, due to recent extreme storms, such as the 2020 derecho and record-breaking high temperatures, climate change has started to wear down Iowa's trees. Trees and woodlands help keep large amounts of water out of fields, streets, and waterways to reduce flooding in the state.
What is causing the wear down of trees?
Climate scientists have said that as temperatures increase, moistures will decrease. The result is more fires on the wildland landscapes and early mortality rates for these trees.
What are the consequences here in Iowa City?
Iowa City was one of the areas central to the destructive 2020 derecho that destroyed over 7 million trees in the state. The need for more trees in Iowa City has grown exponentially over the years in the face of climate change.
Are there any solutions to this climate threat?
Currently, Iowa is losing more trees than there are trees being planted. Climate scientists are aiming for 3 main goals. 1, watering newly planted young trees as well as mature trees during periods of drought. 2, pruning trees to help them keep strong in the face of high winds. And 3, planting diverse species of trees to help promote resilience. Back to you, Reagan.
Thanks, Grace. And after a cloudy weekend, Nataliya, will the sun be coming around this weekend?
We're looking at a live view of campus where it's breezy, 43 degrees. Today we'll see a high of 57 with clouds, and tonight temperatures are going to drop to a chilly 33 degrees. Tomorrow will be sunny with a high of 63, perfect for enjoying the nice fall festivities around Iowa City. Looking at the week ahead, the temperatures will steadily increase with highs in the mid-70s and lows hovering in the 40s. Temperatures on Sunday and Monday will range in the low 70s with a surprise jump in temperature on Tuesday to 79. The fall weather isn't here to stay yet, so don't put away your summer clothes just yet. The weather this weekend is looking great for watching Iowa football. Michael, can fans expect a win on Iowa win?
Well, Nataliya, it's going to be a tough matchup this weekend for the Hawkeyes. Iowa is getting ready to take on the Illinois Fighting Illini, and Iowa has won the last 8 matchups against Illinois, dating all the way back to 2007. But this Illini team is nothing like the past. Point of reference, I was 5 years old when this game was played. But this year is a different story. Illinois is coming off of a massive win over the Wisconsin Badgers, where Illinois would dominate Wisco in Camp Randall, winning 34-10. And despite the dominance over Illinois in the past, the Hawkeyes know that this game will be no walk in the park.
You know, they're a talented football team, a very confident football team, and again, we're going on the road to play in a really tough environment. So it's going to be a big challenge for us moving forward here.
The Illini are not known for filling up their stands on Saturdays, but this weekend could be a different story. Illinois enters the contest 4-1, and with a massive push from not only athletes but coaches as well, Saturday night in Memorial Stadium could be the Hawks' toughest road test yet.
I think just the nature of how hard the athletics department has been pushing for this game to become probably more of a game than even a homecoming. I feel like they're making sure that this game is what stands out and throughout the season. Like, doesn't matter what happens the rest of the season, if they go to a bowl game, it's this Iowa game that shows that there's a fan base here to support this team.
Last week, the Iowa defense had their hands full trying to stop one of the nation's top running backs in Michigan's Blake Corum. This week, things don't get any easier. Illinois starting running back Chase Brown currently leads the entire NCAA in total rushing yards. Iowa knows that if they want to pull off this upset, they're going to have to stop the nation's leading rusher.
You know, you look at their football team, they're strong up front on both sides. They've got a good running back, an outstanding running back, not just a good running back, very productive.
And their back has tremendous vision, and he just gets right upfield and gets 8 yards of dang carry. So
the Hawkeyes will look to extend their winning streak against the Fighting Illini tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. in Champaign, Illinois.
Be sure to check out my pregame segment on the Daily Iowan YouTube and website for a more in-depth breakdown for this weekend's matchup. And this weekend's kid captain of the game is Asbury, Iowa native Cormac Faley. When Cormac was just 6 years old, he was diagnosed and treated for T-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia at the University of Iowa Stead Families Children's Hospital. Cormac went through more than 3 years of chemotherapy and other treatments and finished his last treatment in October of 2020. As a cancer-free 12-year-old, when Cormac found out that he was selected as a kid captain this year, he was nothing if not surprised.
There's just like so many kids who are like applying to be a kid captain, and there's only around like 11, and like hundreds and hundreds of kids are signing up. They're just like, holy crap, I got it.
Even though Cormac can't be with the team this weekend in Champaign, he'll be in the thoughts of all the Hawkeye players as they swarm onto the field Saturday evening. And the Iowa men's basketball team is gearing up for their upcoming season. Last season, the Hawkeyes surprised the world and won the Big Ten Tournament Championship, but Iowa could not continue this momentum into the postseason as they would fall in the first round of the NCAA tournament to the Richmond Spiders. This year, Iowa has to worry about replacing the production from All-American Keegan Murray. Murray led all Power 5 players in points last year, scoring over 23 a game. But despite losing the number 4 pick in the draft and the Summer League MVP, this team believes that their potential is limitless.
I mean, we kind of thrive under that under appreciation nationally. We got a really confident group. We've all been there before, so we know how to do it. And I think we're really tight-knit, and we'll be able to do it again.
I think the sky's the limit, you know. We're always underdogs. We've been underdog last year. With Keegan gone, hey, we still have a lot of great players, you know what I mean? We're together as a team. The team chemistry is very, very strong, so I'm excited to see what we can do.
And the front runner to shoulder the load left by Keegan Murray is his twin brother, Chris. Chris enters this season with a ton of expectations to fill the shoes of his brother, and with Chris being named to the All-Big Ten preseason team, he's off to quite a start. We will see if Chris and the rest of the Hawkeyes can achieve similar heights as last year's squad when they open their season with a spooky exhibition against Truman State on Halloween. And the Iowa women's basketball team has been turning a lot of heads during their offseason. Coach Lisa Bluter and her squad were recently ranked to finish first in the Big Ten, according to the coach's Big Ten preseason rankings. And on top of that, star point guard Caitlin Clark was named the Big Ten coach's preseason player of the year. Clark and senior Monica Sonano are also named to the preseason All-Big Ten team as the Hawkeyes look to repeat what they did last year as they try to take home the gold in the regular season and the Big Ten tournament. Iowa's regular season will start on November 7th as the Hawkeyes take on the Southern Jaguars at Carver Hawkeye Arena. And the Iowa field hockey team begins their 4-game road trip with a top 5 matchup against the Penn State Nittany Lions. Iowa enters the game ranked 4th in the nation, while conference rival Penn State sits in at 5th. The Hawks enter this matchup following a tough loss last weekend at against Maryland. However, Iowa has turned all their attention on what they need to do to topple the Nittany Lions.
Ability to really defend very aggressively in our defensive third. Penn State has unbelievably skilled front field players, so our red zone defense is one thing, and then our ability to execute our penalty corners and our ability to run on Penn State in transition so we can really create offensive opportunities.
Today's game against the Nittany Lions and the Hawks game against James Madison University on Sunday can both be watched on Big Ten Plus. And the Iowa baseball team returns to Duane Banks Field today as the Hawkeyes take on the Bears from DMACC Community College. This will be the Hawkeyes' 3rd straight home appearance, and they currently sit at 2-0 on the fall season. Those wins come off of 2 dominant showings from the Hawks. Throughout the exhibitions, the Hawkeyes were treating opponents like Wendy's with how many 4-for-4s they were racking up, and even a few position players got to step up on the mound and pitch. Final scores included a 32-1 win versus Mississauga a couple weeks back and a 16-7 win over Iowa Central last week. The Hawks look to continue improving as they head into the Black and Gold World Series in a couple of weeks. And the Iowa volleyball team went to West Lafayette as heavy underdogs. However, they took on the 5th-ranked Purdue Boilermakers, and they went the distance and had them on the ropes. Iowa lost the first set by a mere 2 points before taking the second set by 8. Purdue would bounce back in the third set by winning by 4, and Iowa forced a 5th set with a tight 3-point win. Despite a late comeback in the 5th set, however, Purdue would take down the Hawkeyes 15-9. Head coach James Barnes would go on to say, quote, "I'm proud of how hard we played and how we were able to follow our game plan. It's frustrating because we did have an edge and an opportunity to take the match. But we were just not able to close it out. This team is improving and fighting, and we are on the verge of a breakthrough," end quote. Iowa comes home tomorrow to take on the Indiana Hoosiers for Parents' Day. And come back on Monday for more information on everything Hawkeye sports. Be sure to check out the Daily Iowan YouTube page and website for updates posted throughout the weekend. Back to you, Reagan.
Thanks, Michael. A recent study conducted by the University of Iowa Basel in Switzerland has found evidence that live animal therapy may boost cognitive and emotional activity in the brain. This means that if you find yourself lacking motivation or attention, petting a dog will help. A stronger boost in brain activity was detected when a person petted the fur of a real dog versus a stuffed animal. The animal also adds to existing research on the benefits of animal-assisted therapy rehabilitation for nervous system, such as stroke, seizure disorders, brain infection traumas. So the next time you're feeling down, find a furry friend. Thank you for tuning in to DITV. I'm Reagan Wilson. Have a fantastic Friday.